Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Backfire Simsport TV. I'm Clyde Whiting, and tonight we bring you a very special episode of the V8ESC Backfire podcast and our Season 9 pre-season special. So, in the booth with me tonight, I have our usual broadcasters. We've given Tony and Johnny the night off. So, good evening, Pete Bingham.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening, Bill Switzer.
Good evening.
And we're going to give Sam a talking part tonight. So, good evening, Sam Boozin.
Good evening. I'm scared now.
That was a bit of a shock for Sam. So, guys, pre-season special. We're going to run through what we've got going on for the rest of this year. So we've got season 9 of the Racetech Cup and the continuation of the Endurance Cup. We'll talk a little bit about the lap records and who holds them and when they were set. We've just had Media Day. We don't usually learn a great deal from Media Day, apart from Nicole Foggy is still quick. So let's kick it off with July. This Saturday, the 18th, Racetech Cup from Mosport, sprint and feature race. Pete, I will start with you. It's a great track, isn't it, Mosport? Happy that that's on the calendar.
I am, yeah. It's a very exciting track. I've always enjoyed racing there. It's not necessarily enjoyed having me there because it's a very slippy track, I find. Turn 2 in particular. You just disappear off into the wilderness. It's got some great straights that lead into some very challenging corners. Even the ones you think are simple, the S's towards the end of the lap, they're not simple. You need to line them up very accurately. There's a lot of overtaking points on there, although it can be a bit of a procession if you've got an unskilled or untalented set of racers, whereas we don't have that. So I think we're in for an exciting race when we get to Mosport this coming Saturday.
Yeah, and I think unfortunately oh no, he's back. Are you with us, Bill?
Yeah, I'm with you now.
Excellent. So, Mosport, or Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, to give it its proper name. Anything that sticks out for you, Bill, around that track?
I'm sorry, you guys will have to continue. I've got some kind of problem. I'll try to get back to you.
Okie dokie. So, for me, Mosport, I'm probably going to end up saying this quite a lot tonight. It's one of those tracks that I see it on the calendar for a particular series, and I sort of dread it when we go in there. And then when I get there and I do a few laps, not that I'm quick, but I enjoy it because it's one of them flowing circuits, Pete.
It's got a good flow to it. Some big sweeping corners that you take in gears you wouldn't necessarily. Moss corner or Moss hairpin, depends on whether you view that as a hairpin or not. It's a double right-hander. Very technical. You find a big pile of cars, usually in the sand trap just to the left of it. And then you fire yourself out of that down, I think it's Mario Andretti Straight. That rings a bell to me. And it's an uphill straight. You don't get many of them, really. You've got Bathurst, and you come down Conrad. They're drama because they're downhill, but there's just as much drama going uphill at Mosport into the S's. And then the final corner, which I forget the name of now, is also challenging the rumble strip on the inside of that last corner. I think there's 10 corners, if memory serves. If you get hold of that just bounces you into the air and flings you across the track, or it does me anyway. And you find a lot of people get very, very familiar with the pit wall just there as well. Over rotation on that corner is a common theme. the very, very brave or the very, very talented will make overtakes at that corner. It's a regular overtaking place, but whether they're successful or not, that's a completely different argument.
Yeah, it's interesting you talk about crashes around there. You seem to be speaking from experience.
Oh God! Yeah.
Now, I could be wrong. I am actually busily trying to look at seasons gone by, but I think it's been quite a while since we've actually been to Mosport.
It has, and you're probably getting mixed up with the GT4 league because that was there a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah,
that's why it sounds so familiar to us.
I think the last time we was there was season 3. I'm just looking at the quick results now. We did a super sprint rounds there, so 3 races, and I'm looking at Tony Kloosterman winning the first 2 and Stephen Lattimore winning the 3rd race. Now, obviously, Stephen doesn't race with us anymore. And interestingly enough as well, Tony Kloosterman holds the V8ESC record round there with a 1 minute 17.753. Now, I know Tony, I think that's Tony's local track. And I also think that it's a track that Tony really, really enjoys. So, given his previous around there, do you think that could be the best way for Tony to start the season and lay the marker down to the likes of Nicole Foggy and Johnny Brandon and everybody else?
I think they're going to put it to him. If I'm being brutal, I think that it's going to be a real dogfight, that track. If we're going to are we doing a reverse for the feature?
Yep.
I think that'll be a crazy race and not one to miss. Everyone's very talented in this league now, and very respectful of one another. But I really do think there'll be a good amount of door banging going on around Mosport.
Yeah, it is one of them tracks, isn't it, where sometimes you have to. I was going to say be naughty, but that sounds really childish. But you know what I mean. Sometimes you just have to put that nose in where it's not wanted to be able to get the move done.
Yeah, you have to force the other person off the racing line is effectively what we're talking about. And I don't mean that by physically push them off. I mean put your car where they don't want you to be. And there's some people who are really good at it. So Tony is one of them. Johnny Brandon, Nicole Foggy, the regular names that we know. And they are talented at doing that, and that's how they get positions. And I'm not talented at doing that, and that's why I go gardening so often when I go at these tracks. And and Mosport is. Some people argue that Mosport's got one line. It hasn't, and it's just having the Canadian flag as your national flag doesn't mean you're gonna take home all the silverware from Mosport, because it's that volatile a track. It could be anything.
Yeah, well, like I say, I'm looking forward to Mosport. I think that's an exciting start to the season. So, still in July, the following week, the 25th, the Endurance Cup resumes. Round 6 from Road America and our 2-hour endurance race. Now, we haven't had the best of attendances for the endurance race, but for any of the new people, the new drivers that are watching this either live or watching it back, by signing up to the main league, you're also entitled to race in the endurance league at no extra cost. Currently, we've got Marco Nemela, Tony Kloosterman, and Wayne Sanderson out there at the top of that. But Road America, Pete, that's another fantastic track.
It's ideal for endurance racing, that's for sure. It's a track that I really love, and on this track more than any other, you notice downforce or the lack of it between cars significantly. So there's a corner that I think they just call the kink. It's after the carousel. High downforce cars, you just keep your toe in, you nail it around the corner and the car sticks. In a V8, no way. You're not doing that. You've got to really be very careful around that turn. And it sets you up for one of the funniest named straights. It's not even a straight, it's got a kink in that even. On any track, it's called Kettle Bottoms. And why anybody would ever think to name something that, I have no idea. But that's the one that leads up to Canada Corner. Again, I don't really know why it's called Canada Corner. And you can get an enormous amount of time benefit if you get that corner right. And I often don't and get mugged as I make my way towards the end of the lap. Again, you've got a downhill straight. It's after the second turn. And you go down towards that tight left-hander. And again, get your lines wrong around Road America, and you end up in a world of pain and losing positions. But get it right, and it's a fantastic lap. And an endurance race around there. It's a good length lap. Lots and lots of overtaking places all the way through the lap. Lots of places to get toe, and obviously in the V8, toe can be absolutely brilliant for you if you can get it at the right time and optimize that drag, especially up the start-finish straight, which is an uphill straight, which flattens out before you get into turn one. Turn one's it's terrifying if you do it right because it's so fast, and you feel like a right fool when you do it wrong because you're tootling round and people are overtaking you left and right.
Yeah, I always find that it's one of those tracks that probably setup dependent, and at my talent level, when I'm racing people of similar low talent,
You're what?
I'll get that in before you do. Because there's a different mix of things at the track. You can be slower than somebody in one section, but quicker than them in another section.
Oh yeah.
And it's all about being quicker than them in the right section.
Yeah, because
to be able to get it done.
I've been a good amount ahead as I've gone into that left-hander that's just before the carousel. And I've watched in my rearview mirror, which I shouldn't have been looking at, someone absolutely pull right onto the back of my car. And you think, hang on, I can't go around the carousel any faster than this. What the hell are you driving? How have you got that much downforce that you can just nail it around the carousel and keep going? That is a setup issue, that, isn't it? Either that or it's just my unbelievable lack of talent.
Bill, you're back with us?
Yeah, I believe so, finally.
Excellent. So you missed Mosport. So
that's the end of the season, right? Okay.
I've got a theory that somebody might be able to put us right on the chat. It's called Canada Corner because it's nearly in Canada. Bill, what do you think of Road America? Is it one of the circuits that you enjoy?
Absolutely. It's probably, in my humble opinion, the primo road course in the United States, no doubt. Unfortunately, it's located in an area that's out in the middle of really nowhere and not very populated, not really, I'm not going to say it's inconvenient, but it's not like going to a major hub area where there's a lot of transportation and stuff, because you could have all kinds of professional races there. It's a beautiful course and really a tough course, long, fast, slow, and mostly fast. And it's a hard course to really do well on because there's such a diversity. Matter of fact, that's where I got my nickname Barbecue for crashing so much. So
it was.
That must have been. Was it season 1, season 2 when Bill was just on fire in the pits? So we named him Barbecue.
Yeah, that's right. And while I was sitting there, people were coming up the front straightaway. Instead of keeping on going, they were zipping through the pit like at 150 miles an hour going by me, sitting there smoking. So pretty interesting. But it's a beautiful course, great course. Absolutely on my top 5 list for real, and it's a beautiful course besides. So yeah, I do really like it a lot.
Good. So like I say, that will be round 6 of the Endurance Cup, 2-hour race. Interestingly enough, our lap record round there is 2 minutes 9 seconds .079, set by Johnny Brandon in season 5. So, a couple of records so far that are fairly long standing. That finishes off for July, and we go into August. So we've actually got 3 weeks on the trot. So we go again with the Racetech Cup on the 1st of August. From a track that I've never driven in the daylight. Motegi GP. I don't know if you can remember, Pete. We did it many seasons years ago in a pit lanes championship. I believe it was we was driving the Radical, and everybody painted their car black so nobody could see the cars, and it was a nightmare.
That was funny. Sorry, I've only just remembered that.
Yeah. Now, to me, like all of the Japanese tracks, it's just slippery. It doesn't matter on track conditions, temperature, setup. It's like the Japanese use a totally different type of tarmac to everybody else that's made of ice. Well, do you get the same, Pete, when you drive around these Japanese tracks?
Motegi is one of the tracks that I've driven the least, and that's only because I avoid it. I'm no good around there. My brain can't process which straight I'm on. There's a lot of straights, and I get kind of bored sometimes when I'm driving around tracks. And this is one of those ones where I end up crashing because I think I'm at a completely different corner. And there's no laughing from you, Clyde, because you've done exactly the same thing, and I've admitted it in the past.
No idea what you're on about.
I remember that race, and I remember thinking, what has someone done with the grip levels on my tyres? Because I can't get any traction out of any corners. I can only imagine. I've never driven it in the V8, and I can only imagine the amount of frustration that is going to come from everybody trying to drive that track. And that one, more than any, I think, that I've seen that we've talked about yet, will separate the cream from the rest of the field, because this car has wheel spin at the best of times. It's got understeer when you don't expect it. It's got oversteer when you really wanted understeer. On a track like that, this is going to be just crazy.
Yeah, we haven't actually raced the GP circuit in V8ESC. We've raced the smaller East circuit.
Right.
But yeah, I think I'm trying to think now what bits they cut out for the East. I think it might be the start-finish straight that's missing in the East one.
Right.
But it's, the GP track is nearly a 3-mile track. Bill, have you driven anything around there?
I always get that one and Suzuka mixed up. What's the one that has corner 146? Which track is that?
Are you talking about
230R?
Yeah, 130R, isn't it?
Oh, 130R. Which one is that?
This is the one that's got the oval built into it, Bill.
Yeah, we raced there once, I think, didn't we?
We did the East version, which is the smaller one, but not the.
Oh yeah, okay.
One.
That's right. After you came under that little bridge, you kind of veered off to the left or right or whatever, rather than going left, I think, or something. Yeah, I don't really recall it that well, and it's like you mentioned, Clyde. It's slippery as hell there, and it's a tough course to get around, in my opinion. But of all the three, I think I would pick that one over the other two. I don't like either one of the other two.
As I said, we've not. This is a first for the league. It could be interesting. I think it will certainly sort the men from the boys. Right, then we get a week off. Hooray! And then we're back for another 3-week stint. So the first endurance round of the Racetech Cup is at Daytona Road Course. Now, I can remember having many discussions with Tony Kloosterman a few seasons ago.
One of his favorite tracks.
Yes, and I know Tony's not that keen on it, but it always, I don't know, Pete. I like it. It's one of the, as I've said before, it's one of the few tracks that I actually know, and I don't have to do any laps to learn where the corners are. But I think it always provides good racing, because you've got the oval section, which means people can't stretch out miles in front because you get that toe and you catch them back up again. Turn one is absolutely awful, and even the turn that goes back onto the banking. That tends to catch a lot of people out, and then the bus stop, which is the bit I always struggle with. So it's a track that's got a bit of everything in my eyes.
Yeah, I like racing there. We've done some of our funniest races there, you and I. This is the infamous
Fuel saver.
Let's fuel save. Nobody else be doing that. Damn right they weren't, because we came stone last. We were about 5 laps down.
But we had plenty of fuel.
We had loads of fuel. We were eco drivers that day. The thing that I miss at Daytona Road is any kind of elevation change, and it's obvious, isn't it? It's the infield of an oval. But I do miss that. The only time you go up or down is onto the banking or down off the banking. Bus stop's a brilliant turn. The amount of toe you get round as it turns 3 and 4 of the oval track is immense. And you're right, anything you lose in the infield, sometimes you can gain back on those sections of oval. The turn you're referring to when you join it is, I think it's called in and out, and I don't know why they call it that, but never mind. Turn 1 is a lottery on lap 1, because people just dive in there on any line. I don't know. I try and go the safest route, and the safest route has always been the most dangerous, because everybody else apparently has chosen the same route as me. I think the whole thing is great. It's a perfect track for an endurance race, in my opinion. I know Tony's opinions on it, and they're valid. It's not for everybody's taste, but I think it's a great track. I've had some of the funniest races ever around that track.
Yeah, and again, I have theories on every corner name in the world, and I think that's called in and out, because you go, yeah, I'm in the race, oh no, I'm out.
You get a lot of people spinning on that corner and disappearing off onto the grass on the left-hand side, on the inside, and you think, how have you ended up there? And then 2 laps later, I'm busy tootling across the grass there, going, oh man, that's how you get there then. Yeah,
but it's one of them corners that can throw you either way, isn't it? You can also end up in the wall on the outside, so It is a nasty corner. Bill, what do you think of Daytona Road Course?
I think it's wonderful. It's, for an old guy like me that can't remember stuff, it's nice because it's fairly simple. You don't have to remember too many corners. And it does, like you mentioned, it gives, I think, really decent competition. I mean, by the end, it's amazing how many people are close together there. You'll wonder. I mean, even in real life, I've been to the races there many times, and it's just incredible. After 24 hours, you got guys within, a couple, maybe a half a minute of each other. And after 24 hours, that's pretty damn close. So it's a fun track to race. It's, the infield isn't the most challenging in the world, but it's a little tricky. You got to be careful. You just can't slam through there. And like Pete mentioned, going on, I think it's turn 7, I believe, that kind of heads back onto the oval. That corner is really tricky. It's amazing how slick that corner is there. It's you go in there too fast, and you're off on the other side. You lose tremendous time. It doesn't give you real good speed on the oval, which you need. So, and Clyde, you mentioned probably the most difficult area, the bus stop. I mean, I think screw up the exit more than any. of the parts of the bus stop. That's the toughest thing. It's so tight. You can't go too far to the left, or you got to slow down. It's a good course for endurance races, and even a sprint race would be fun there. So I think it's pretty decent. And like Pete mentioned, it's as flat as a piece of glass, so it's not much there. But without the elevation change, it's really a good course especially for V8s.
Yeah, I think I've enjoyed the races that we've done there. We actually visit there 2 times this season because it is the last race. It's the last race and the first race in the Endurance Championship. So we raced there back in January in the Endurance Championship with the new car, which many say is faster. So again, we have a lap record from Mr. Tony Kloosterman, but this time from last season, of a 1:43.754. So it'd be interesting to see if the cars have got even quicker since the new build. So
think how fast he'd be, Clyde, if he really liked that course.
Sure, yeah, I know. After Daytona, we're back in Endurance Cup action on the 27th of August from Silverstone GP. It's round 7 of the Endurance Cup. Again, 2-hour race, as they all are. I think I've made my thoughts fairly clear on Silverstone. I find it a very, very boring track, apart from the Maggots-Beckett's complex. The new start-finish straight confuses the hell out of me. I think I've finished the lap on the old start-finish straight. It's a good track. It's just a track that I don't like running on. Pete, what about you?
Which one's GP? Is that
It's the full one.
New full thing? Yeah.
Yeah.
I prefer the old one, I have to say. I miss Abbey Corner because it's just a good corner, isn't it? Really. And then you work your way around to Brooklands, which is a very tight corner. You still use that corner, but just not all of it. Try to remember them all now. I always get really weirded out because you go down past 2 start-finish straights, and you're like, which one am I at? What? It's a bit like the previous thing I mentioned before about me getting bored halfway around, and then suddenly remembering that I'm racing, and then I think, right, I've just been past the pit wall again, which is the turn that I'm approaching, and I think, well, the old circuit is Cops, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which is a really, really fast turn. Which you've got to be very careful around because then you've got Maggots and Beckett's and you're trying to set yourself up for an optimal left-hander then right-hander. But on the new circuit, it's Abbey going the opposite way, and you end up disappearing off into where the village is and things like that. I still like Silverstone. I know what you're saying. I think it's because it's the Johnny Brandon effect. Like Bathurst, he's done so many laps around there that he's not disinterested in it, but it's just become too routine. And I think that might be the situation for a lot of British people, to be honest. Silverstone's a place where you do lots of laps. Maybe it's that's affecting you, that you've just done so many laps around here that it's become a bit boring to you.
I think I've done so many laps around the old version, and the new version just confuses me.
Yeah.
Bill, Silverstone. So we're out of America. We're into Europe. We're into Britain. I know you love Brands Hatch, but what do you think of Silverstone?
Well, definitely, it's got a very laureled history, and I have to be honest with you. I like the classic course the best, and the complexes that Pete mentioned. Those are absolutely wonderful. What a really nice grouping of turns. It's really a lot of fun. But like you both mentioned, the new course is confusing as hell, in my opinion. I mean, I look at the the map of the course, and I go, how do you get 2 start finish straights in this course? And I look at it and I go, it doesn't look like there's anything there for that. But anyway, same problem with me. You think you're on the old start finish straight, and then all of a sudden you realize you're on the new start finish straight. It's really kind of strange, but not my favorite course. I think England's the British Isles have a lot better courses than that one, even though it's laureled in history. And of course, we know the Grand Prix, the real Grand Prix is there, and all that. So, I guess as far as stature, it really has it. But I'm in agreement with both you guys. Not my favorite course. I think the new one kind of bollocks it up. There's just too many stupid corners in there, to be honest with you, that don't really fit there. But the classic course was absolutely brilliant, in my opinion. But that's history, so we move on.
That said, though, you can't get a better sequence of turns than Maggots and Beckett and Chapel,
it's wonderful.
and Hanger and what's the one at the top of the hill? Is that Stowe? Where you've got the fast over hill right hander.
One of my racing friends described it to me. I think it was last year as it's been sterilised for F1.
Good.
I think they're probably right.
Yep. That hits it on the head, exactly.
So, go on, sorry, Pete.
I was going to say the bit that I don't like about the new bit is the loop. I just don't think that tight left-hander. It doesn't feel like Silverstone. I don't know why.
Yeah,
Silverstone's all about like trying to get speed, like lots and lots of speed. And that just breaks your lap up and annoys me.
Yeah, really flowing, nice corners. Yep, exactly.
Yeah. So that's my problem with it. But that said, I wouldn't give up the experience of doing Cops, then Maggots, then Beckett's, then Chapel, then Hanger. I mean, that it doesn't look complicated if you look at it from a track map. But the way that you line your car up is so technical. And if you're like 2 or 3 feet left or 2 or 3 feet right, it's ruined straight away, and you lose all your momentum going down Hanger Straight.
Exactly.
And you get mugged by 2 or 3 cars. I think that there's nowhere else that I'm aware of where you can get that sequence of corners that all lead up to something so influential over your lap. I still think Silverstone's good. I just think the new version's got some bits that it could do without.
Right, let's bring Sam in at this point. I know Sam is heavily into his endurance racing and multi-class racing, and Silverstone always seems to pop up in those types of series. What do you think of Silverstone, Sam? Do you prefer the old one or the new one?
A mix of both. I don't like the new kind of double hairpins. This is the only bits that I don't like in the new one. Don't know if that makes sense, but yeah, I would remove that part. That's it.
Yeah, no, that's like I say, it's I don't know. Some people love it, don't they? But whether they love it because it's a great track to drive, or as Bill says, whether it's the history, I don't really know. But like I say, it's another endurance round. It's 2 hours. We have. We may need to reset our records for this after this season, because Tony Clouston has got our lap record again back in season 1 when we was using the old car on the old track. But he did a 1:49.860. So maybe we need to reset that one now that we've got a new track. Right, so moving on. Our last race in August, back to the Racetech Cup, and our first super sprint rounds at another slippery Japanese track, Okayama. I don't even know what to say about it. I find them all the same. They're all really, really slippery, and I hate all of them. And that's all I've got to say about Okayama. What about you, Pete? Help me out.
Of the tracks that we go to in Japan, I think Suzuka I kind of like. It's got some really good turns. Okayama is one of the tracks that I learned when I was on some game years ago, and I don't remember what it would be. It might have been Gran Turismo or something like that. And I thought, what a pointless track. That was my thoughts. And then I raced MX5s around it, and I thought, actually, this isn't what I thought it was. This is actually really interesting. And then I got to the bit where you got the left-hander that goes up the hill, which goes into a right-hander up the hill. And then you go past the pit entrance? And I thought, yeah, it's a pointless track. It's just an annoying track, in my opinion. You can't get going. There's one big back straight, which really doesn't do what you hope it does. Doesn't give you the opportunity to get any slipstream because it runs out before you get there. It feels like it wants to be Road Atlanta but can't be. It's just twisty and tight, and I just get frustrated with it. Also, I got T-bone wiped out by somebody there when I overtook them about 3 times. I've been in the pits 3 times. And I kept overtaking them, and then they just T-boned me, and then I had to protest them. So that's a lingering memory in my head.
Okay. Bill, have you got anything nice to say about Okayama?
Very little, to be honest with you. I like the front half of the course, from the short straight before the front straight, the right-hand corner, and then that little complex where you go left up to the back straight, kind of up the hill. After that, they should throw the rest of the course away. It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
Especially you got this left-right complex, and the right-hand corner. That's the one Pete was talking about just before the pit entrance. Unless you have a car that can really rotate it like 10 miles an hour, you can't even get around that stupid corner without running off the road. So I don't know. I'm not crazy for Okayama, no.
We did this track a while ago, didn't we? Like a long while ago. And I remember it being quite an exciting race, to be honest, in the V8s. I do remember there was no traction at all, and I got absolutely mullered on that corner that we've just been talking about before you.
Yeah.
The penultimate one. Before you end up going around the right-hander.
Pete and I don't know how long ago it was, but we were in Spec Racer Fords one time. Remember that, Pete, going around that?
That was hilarious.
That was kind of a laugh, yeah.
Yeah.
But see, a car like that is fine, but the V8 sliding around with no traction and too much power, it's gonna be a horror show there. But you never know. Sometimes things turn out better than you think. So we got to wait and see.
I think it'll be a massive scrap, that track in the V8s this season. You think of the talent that we've attracted to this league now, and how they'll measure up against one another. I think this and Motegi, I think you'll end up with 2 races, both worth watching.
Yeah, well, don't forget this is a super sprint round as well. So it's 3 15-minute races. So to me, it's one of those. The only real place for proper overtaking, to me, is down that long back straight, and the rest of it is just dive bomb heaven.
Yeah.
There's the bit before you get into, as you go into the twisty bit. So you've got the hairpin at the end of the straight, and then there's actually a couple of corners in the next sequence where you can get an advantage over somebody, because it's one of those ones where the word Piper comes into my head. Piper corner is the second left-hander after the hairpin, and it's almost off camber. So if you get that wrong, the person behind you gets a massive drive down that little straight up to the next left-hander. And I think you've got an overtaking opportunity there. Into the first corner, there's overtaking opportunities. That curve that comes onto the back straight, if you position your car well enough and get the drive up the hill, you end up with a massive advantage. And yes, that's overtaking on that back straight, but it's the curve that brings you that opportunity. So I think there's some really good V8 racing going to happen there. It's just I've never had a good experience there, I don't think.
You know what you said, Clyde, before. this is going to give an opportunity to see who rises to the top, because we don't, between this and Motegi, we don't have a lot of, what would you say, pit notes to go to, and we haven't been there enough times to really see what's going to truly happen with the good guys and the not so good guys.
Yeah, so I don't know what it is. I just find all of the Japanese tracks extremely slippery for some unknown reason. Anyway, let's move on from Japan and August and into September. So, Racetech Cup on the 12th of September from one of my favourite tracks, sim racing and real, Donington Park. And we've gone for the GP loop. It really only adds the hairpin at the end. But I love Donington. The Kramer curves. It's one of them, a bit like Maggots and Beckett's at Silverstone. If you get it right, it's a fantastic feeling. If you get it wrong, you're cutting the grass somewhere. It's not a particularly easy track to overtake on. Turn one is usually a good opportunity, but I don't know why. It's just one of those tracks that I enjoy, and I enjoy it in any car. What about you, Pete?
Well, it's not Craner curves that you need to worry about. It's old hairpin that follows it. That's the one where, just on the left there's a big pile of scrap parts from all the other people that have crashed at the same place. Because if you carry too much speed into that, you just wash out to the left, or if you get on the gas too soon once you're out of it, you over-rotate off to the right and into the wall on the right-hand side. Then you start climbing up that hill. You end up into McLean's, which is it's a reasonably fast, like almost 90 degree, it might even be 90 degree right-hander. And then into Coppice at the top of the hill. Can you tell I've raced there before? And then you come down the back straight there into the S's, and then Melbourne Hairpin, which is nowhere near Australia, and then Goddard's, and then back to enjoy another lap. This is a track that I really do get on with. I'm not necessarily good at it, but I enjoy it. The V8s will be great round here. So many overtaking opportunities for a car with dodgy grip on cold tyres, huge amounts of horsepower, lots and lots of drafting, because the straights on that track just lend themselves to it. It's a downhill straight, down Starkeys, is it? And coming out of Coppice, lining up your car for the turns is critical, just like it is on any track, but you tend to lose such a massive amount of speed if you get them wrong. And just a fantastic track. I love it. I'd race there every day if I could.
Yeah, it has got a bit of everything, and you see so many people lose it in the last left-hander onto the start-finish straight. Interestingly, although it's not modelled in iRacing, obviously, the back straight at Donington is really, really slippery. Because it is actually on the flight path for East Midlands Airport, and it does get covered in aviation fuel. So a little snippet there for people. Bill, have you done much racing at Donington in the sim?
Not as much as I'd like to. I have to agree with both of you. I think Donington's a really beautiful track. And if the COVID-19 thing ever ceases and we get to ever travel again, that's on my bucket list. I definitely want to go there one time. Pete really knows those corner names real well, but the part I like the best is after the start straight, there's a right-hander, and then there's another right, and then you go left. From there down to almost to where you can see the airplanes coming over the fence there. What a great section that is. That's wonderful through there. That's just really, really exciting to go zooming down through there. And side-by-side action down through there is really neat. I'll tell you, it's scary as hell, but it's really a lot of fun. I'm not real fond of the GP corner in there because I haven't done it enough, but it's going to add some color to it, no doubt. But it's absolutely a wonderful course. And is that a Jonathan Palmer course, by the way? Does he own that?
Not a clue.
No, I don't know.
Okay, all right. You
who
know
does,
the famous
actually.
little sign that he has, his little, you know, the little red markings on the sign.
MSVR.
Yeah. But anyway, it doesn't really matter whether he owns it or not. It's a beautiful place. I'd love to go there, and looking forward to seeing the V8s race there. Like Pete says, it's going to be a bang up race with those guys.
And like Bill says, there's not that many tracks where you can go around corners too wide for long periods of time. And at Donington you can, because they're not so sharp that you have to give ground. You can duke it out for quite a number of turns, and then there will be a turn that will sort you both out, one way or the other. And I think that there's not that many tracks where that's possible.
And more importantly, that's another airport that we get to see airplanes take off too.
Yeah, it's another one where Klein goes, "Ooh, a plane!" and it
And if anybody wants to some inside information on sneaky overtaking places, get yourself on YouTube and watch Ashley Sutton in the British touring cars, because he manages to overtake people around Donington in places that he shouldn't be able to do it. Sam,
the Nicole Foggy of British touring cars.
yeah, Sam, you got much experience around Donington?
I think we did a race back in the day in the V8s. I think that's my only race at Donington, but yeah, it's a cool track. Pretty small, like it. Elevations. That's a bit all of the things you want in a short racetrack.
I don't remember us doing this track.
We have done it. We didn't do the GP last time. We did the national circuit, which
is that the one with the chicane?
Yeah,
right.
At the end of the straight on the GP circuit, you turn left and then sort of go down a hill, hairpin, and then come back up the hill.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it only adds a little bit to the track, but it's, you know, so because we haven't raced that layout before, again, we haven't got a record, so that one is up for grabs. Okay, so 19th of September, we're back to the Endurance Cup, and classic endurance track in my eyes, and should be in a lot more series that do endurance racing, is Imola, a track that I really, really enjoy, but I'm really, really crap at. It's I don't know what it is. I just really enjoy it, but I've never. I'm going to say I've never got any speed round there. I'm going to get comments that you haven't got any speed anywhere, but I'm just, you know, when you do laps and you don't even look at the clock and you go, yeah, that was a good lap. And I do that round Imola, and then I look at the clock and go, no, actually, that was pretty crap. Even though it felt like I was hanging my balls out of the window and couldn't go any quicker. But what do you think of Imola, Pete?
This is the track where the other day I got mullered in the M8s for a whole load of safety rating. Well, it was a couple of weeks ago, actually. It's hugely technical. This is one where you're lining yourself up for corners, not just on a line, but at a very particular speed. Aqua Minerale. That's the one.
Mineral water corner, yeah.
Yeah. I can't do it. I just can't do it. I end up in the wall, in the gravel, on the grass, getting a massive 3-second slowdown or whatever it is that's going wrong. That little complex is just an anathema to me. I have no idea what I'm doing. The chicane that follows it, I end up breaking the car just going over the bumps. I find this track really, really difficult, personally. I really enjoy it, annoyingly, because I'm no good at it. I want to be good at it desperately. That double left-hander, you come down the hill to it. Generally, you see an ocean of cars on the right-hand side that have all also got it wrong when you're in official races around here.
Piratella?
Do you know? I'm not sure. I'm gonna say yes because I don't have a better answer.
Okay.
And then
after Mineral Water Corner.
Pasta Visual.
What? Is he just
Pasta
talking?
fajoule.
I think he's talking about his dinner.
I think he is. That's funny. I love the track. I want to be good at it, but I can't be for no reason whatsoever. I think it's fantastic. It's just got so many appealing features. It's got elevation change. It's got really complicated corners. It's got places you can crash when you're not even trying to. It attracts really good racing. I really like this track. I just wish I could do it.
Yeah, it does. It does end up as a bit of a crash fest, doesn't it? Sometimes in some series that I've watched, just because you say, because it is a technical track.
Yeah, and V8s around here will be fascinating because in places where you don't expect it to be, it's a really fast track. After the hairpin, you go uphill. V8s will be brilliant up there, trying to find traction on an uphill straight out of a hairpin. And then you've got a sweeping right-hander that lends itself to a slower left-hander, which is, I don't think it's 90 degrees, but it must be somewhere near it. And then you come back down the hill again into Aqua Minerale. That is just a brilliant sequence of corners. I don't know who designed the track. I really don't care. I'd like to applaud them. But V8s are going to be brilliant around that.
Yeah, I'm probably I'm more happy that I'm commentating than driving. I think this season with Imola. Bill, what do you think of Imola?
I kind of like Imola, and like Pete, you can't drive it for crap, but it's a beautiful course. And the thing that stands out the most to me is Pete mentioned those two left-hand corners onto that front straight. You get on that front straight, you come out of that corner. I'll tell you, I think it's the fastest. At least it feels to me the fastest you get going in a V8 is down that straightaway. Oh my God! Till you get up to the chicane, the first chicane that you run into. My God! I mean, you are hauling butt going down through there. It's amazing. Again, very technical. Some off-camber corners. With a car like this, with a V8, the one Pete was talking about, you go around the hairpin up that hill, kind of into a blind left-hand corner, which is, I think Pete even mentioned, it almost feels off-camber. Boy, I'll tell you, it's so easy to go slinging off the course right there. It's just takes tremendous, what should I say, fortitude really to drive this track well. As a matter of fact, I think this was Ferrari's test track or something for a while, if I understand it. I'm not quite sure, but I know Ferrari has a lot to do with Imola. But it's a great course. I love it.
And the thing that fascinates me is you do that first chicane, and in any car, you tootle around the next corner, even though after about 30 laps of practice, you realise, why was I tooling for 29 laps? You can go flat out around this corner.
Yeah, you can.
It takes it takes me ages to realise that is a corner where you can nail it. You're not going to go wide as long as you do it confidently. And it's those little make it so fascinating.
And then that next left-right-hander after that, Pete, you fly into that first one real well, and then the right-hander, you don't get it quite right, you are off the road, let me tell you.
Yeah, that's a vicious little wall back there as well.
Yes, it is. It's a good course.
It's jumped out at me a few times, I can tell you.
So, like I say, that's another 2-hour enduro race. Sam, you must have done hundreds of laps around Imola with your endurance experience.
Yeah. We did the first race this season of the Easy Endurance Championship at Imola. I was quite enjoying it in the HPD. It was pretty fun. That was my first endurance race when I started iRacing in the GT3 VS Endurance Championship. Good memories. But yeah, that's a track I like, depending the cars. V8, that's good. Some GTs, that's good. As I said, I like it in the HPD, even if it doesn't sound like a track made for prototypes car, but that was a pretty good combo for me.
And this is the track, don't forget, that Foggy ended up having a few crashes at the last time we were here. And he quit out after crashing at the last corner, I think it was.
That's right, he
did.
did.
Yeah.
He did, didn't he? Yeah. So that proves that it can separate out the best from the best, if you know what I mean. Even the best don't survive it necessarily.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to just nip out because somebody's knocking at my front door. How weird is that? Won't be a sec.
So our V8 ESC lap record goes back to season 6, and Michael Evdoka, who no longer races with us, he got round there in 1 minute 43.728. So be interesting to see. Obviously, season 6 that would have been in the old car, so it'd be interesting to see whether the new car can get that lap record. So then on the 26th of September, we go to, I always call it the jewel in the crown for our series. I make sure that every season this track is on the schedule. And as season 9, we will be celebrating our birthday. We will be at Bathurst. It will be Racetech Cup endurance round. But where our Racetech Cup endurance races are usually 1 hour long or 90 minutes long, this is going to be the Bathurst 300. It's going to be 75 laps of Bathurst. I love Bathurst. I love driving it. I'm not slow. Sorry, I am slow. To say I'm not quick. But I really, really, really enjoy the track. Yes, there's lots of places to get it wrong. Maybe because of my slower speed. I tend to do well at Bathurst because I don't have that many crashes. I could tell you a little story.
Here it comes.
But I won't, because you've heard it all before. But on that note, I will bring in our Bathurst specialist, Mr. Pete Bingham.
So that sentence and those words have never been assembled in that manner before. Nobody's ever said that.
So you can obviously tell us all the places you can crash.
Yep. I can crash at. Hang on, let me work this out for a second. I've crashed at Hell Corner. I've not crashed on the straight. I've definitely crashed at Quarry many times. The cutting is a little bit lethal for me. What is that one? Suleiman Park is the one where I binned it twice in that endurance race on lap 50 in the same place at the same time on my own with nobody else near me, and that's why Clyde didn't speak to me for quite a while. I've definitely crashed at Skyline and in the S's. I've ruined my car many times at the Dipper. Forest Elbow is lethal to me. The Chase, I've broken my suspension by going over the bumps there too hard too many times. Murray Corner, I've ran myself into the wall on both sides of the track, and I think that's a full lap of Bathurst.
Yeah, my places that I get wrong there is Skyline. I don't know what it is. That's probably the most scariest piece of track in the world.
I still don't know what I'm doing on Skyline. I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever told me this is the sequence you press the pedals and this is how you turn your wheel. I just don't get it.
So sort of Skyline and the S's, it just terrifies me. And the Chase is another one. It's one of those weird corners where it looks wide open and you can carry a load of speed through it, and then you're on top of it and it's like, well, hang on, this is tighter than I thought it was. Oh, hello, grass. And I don't know. I brake too early and don't carry enough speed through it, or I brake correctly and then ease off the brake because I think it's wider than it is and end up on that bit of grass. But it's a phenomenal track. It really is, and it can be, I would guess, not that I'm a fast guy, but I would guess it could be very, very frustrating for the faster guys, because once you get round Quarry, there's not really any overtaking until you get out of Forest Elbow and onto the Conrod Straight. So Yeah, we have seen a few dodgy moves around there. Do you like it, Bill?
I do. I think it's one of the best courses in the world. It has everything, and I've said this a million times. I'm not going to repeat everything, but it's got it all. Like both of you gentlemen, I'm terrible at this course. I'm slow. The skyline scares the snot out of me too. I don't know. It just doesn't feel right to come lumbering down there over the ideal line theoretically is to go over the curbing there on the inside where you go over there and you bounce 5 feet in the air and you're trying to slow down for that next right hander and you're going to drop over the cutting and but it's wonderful. It's very exhilarating. Forest Elbow, without doubt, the most important corner on the whole course and toughest one to get correct too. God, it's tough to get that correct. But
Yep.
So many people know that big straightaway is coming, so you're getting on the gas too soon, and you make a mistake there, you're going to hit the wall on the outside. You try to hug too tight, you can hit the wall on the inside. It's a really tricky place, a wonderful place, so absolutely beautiful. Like Pete said, I could run there almost every day. It'd be very frustrating because I'd be crashing, but be a wonderful place to be. It'll be fun for the Bathurst 300. That'll be great.
Yeah, that's going to be a bit of a grueler. Like I say, 75 laps. That'll be another one that, shall we say, sorts the men from the boys.
Well, this is the track where Foggy won it by about an hour, didn't he?
Yeah, he's very good here. He knows this track very well. He's a hard man to bat against unless you're in Scops or something here. Really.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just a fantastic track. Bathurst for you, Sam? Good memories, bad memories?
A mix of both, but I do really like it. It's in my top 3 of the track I really like. Especially from after the cutting all the way to Skyline. Even if I almost every time clip the Sulman Park wall on the outside just before McFleming Park. It's just a wonderful track. You have everything except the runoff areas.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I think you should have the option. When you go to a bowling alley and you can press the button and
the bumpers.
the bumper come out of the side. I think I need that. And you're right, though. This is a brilliant track. It's one of those tracks where you can race around it on your own with nobody else around you, get frustrated with it and want to do better constantly and never get bored of it unless you're Johnny Brandon.
Yeah, we know Johnny says he's not that keen on it. We know Nicole Foggy is supreme round there. However, he doesn't have our lap record for Bathurst.
Really? Who's got that?
Our lap record was set way back when we first started in season 1 with a 203.324 by I reckon a lot of our drivers won't even know him, but phenomenally quick driver, Farouk Manzar.
Oh, Farouk, yeah. Yeah, wasn't he something to do? No, it wasn't NQR, was he?
Yeah, he was.
He was.
I think, at the time, I don't know if he still does it, but didn't he race Corvettes or something?
He's a real life racer. That's correct.
Yeah, lovely bloke. But he's our lap record holder there. So let's see if somebody can beat that. Right, so that's September done. Into October, Racetech Cup. Super sprint rounds at my local track, Snetterton, in good old Norfolk. And we're going to what I call is the real Snetterton, which is the 200 circuit, before they added the horrible infield section of Palmer and Agostini and Hamilton and Oggies. I don't know why they did it, but the old 200 circuit, to me, is absolutely brilliant. It's a quick lap. It's not that technical until you get into Brundle Nelson. That's always a tricky part. But you start the lap off going around Ritchie's which is a very difficult right-hander that can quite easily spit you off to the left. Especially if you get the curb on the inside. You come up to the Montreal hairpin, which isn't really a hairpin in 200 because it leads straight into the corner that they now call Williams. And you're onto the Bentley Straight, and you're tear-assing down the Bentley Straight. Under the bridge into Brundle and Nelson, where lots and lots of people get it wrong. Then you've got the right-hander, which is known locally as Bumhole, although the official name is Bombhole, and it actually was a bomb hole as well when Snetterton was an airfield. But that can quite easily spit you out. And then Coram, which it's probably not, but it always seems like the longest corner ever. And then Murray's is a really tricky little left, but when you get it right, you can get so much speed down the start-finish straight. And when you get it wrong, you're out there on the grass. I enjoy the track. I know other people don't, but I've done so many laps around there. It's unbelievable. Pete, what do you think of Snetterton?
I like the 200 and the 300. Murray's, I just think that they should dig that up and redo it because I can never get it right. I don't know what gear to be in. I don't know which line to take through it. I see other people do it like a lot faster than me, and I think I hate you. I love the track. I really do. It's super fast. It's not got that much elevation change, but it is in East Anglia, so God ironed East Anglia before he let people live in it. And for that reason, it's not got that elevation change. But Coram, is it? Is that the corner that carries on forever? That's brutal. And then you've got to shed all that speed that you're carrying to get through Murray's, and you're just like, oh, this is never going to happen. And often with me, it doesn't. Usually a straight line straight over the grass. take some 1Xs. Hopefully don't take anybody out with me, and don't end up in the pit lane accidentally. There's all sorts going on for me at this track. I love turn 1. I think that's brilliant. That's an adrenaline rush. Turn 2 as the new hairpin is that's super tight, that new hairpin, isn't it? And
yeah, it's not really a hairpin in the 200 though.
No, it's like a kink.
You're sort of in and out straight away.
Yeah, whereas for the 300, it's a proper hairpin, but so tight it's annoying. And then I don't remember the last time I raced the 200. To be honest, it must be a long time ago.
Did it season 6, I think.
Oh, blimey, you're going back a bit for me in my memory.
But yeah, Bill. Obviously, a track that I want to take you to the next time you visit good old Blighty. What about driving around there? How have you got on? How have you fared?
I feel pretty comfortable there. You guys have mentioned all the tough spots already, and I've had the pleasure of driving by it a few times when I came over.
Yeah, you certainly did. Yeah,
I drove right by it 2 or 3 times. Shame something wasn't going on, but anyway. I'm glad the 200 has been chosen because I think the 300 is a little bit too much with the lefts and rights. And almost like, you're racing Mini Coopers or something, instead of, anyway. They all have their purpose, but I think the 200 is more appropriate for, what we're doing. That one sweeping right-hand corner is the toughest one, in my opinion, on the whole course. And, of course, getting it right down just before I forget at the end of the straightaway. I forget the names of it. Nelson and whatever it was. Anyway, that's a really tough area too, and it's the second half of that corner that mostly I get wrong. You go off the left side going too fast, or just can't hang on, or whatever. But yeah, it's a fun course. I like that kind of crazy tree. I guess it's kind of deteriorated over the years, but anyway, that's kind of neat too. But yeah, looking forward to Snetterton. I think it'll be a good race for the V8s there on the 200.
Sam, have you done much around Snetterton? It's not really an endurance track.
Not an endurance track. I did it in some other game when I was racing some clear cups and some other thing like that, smaller cars. I don't know if I like it or not. Definitely not the 300s. That's the infield, as you said, is I really don't like that part. But 200 could be okay, I think, depending on the cars.
And I said it's not an endurance track, but here's another little snippet for you. Back in, I think it was 2018, I went to a race there called the 12 Hours Do Norfolk. And it was a 12-hour endurance race with Ford KAs. And it was absolutely hilarious.
That sounds ridiculous.
That was really good, really good. Right, so after that, rounds 15 and 16 on the 24th of October, Circuit of the Americas West Circuit. Now, again, I'm not a lover of any configuration of COTA. I think they used the Japanese tarmac because it's really, really slippery. I struggle to get into my head any of the formats there. I think probably the West Circuit is the better one out of them all. I think the GP circuit, I tend to fall asleep halfway round. But it's there's some people that really, really like this track. Others it's a Marmite track, Pete. Some people love it, some people hate it.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest lover of it either. This is the one that's an anti-clockwise track, isn't it? And I always have a problem with anti-clockwise tracks. Don't know why. Interlagos is another one. And yeah, I've never got on with this track. I've not raced there a great deal. I think one of the very few times that I have done was a long time ago in V8s, in V8 ESC. I remember at the time thinking I should race this more because I don't know it very well. And I know it doesn't distinguish it very well to say that I got mullered, because that happens a lot. But I just didn't get on with it at all well, and didn't race there very often afterwards either. It's the one with all the paint on the floor, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Just as a
Looks
mental
pretty,
reminder.
but
yeah, I'm sure it does. It didn't do much for me though, and yeah, I remember feeling like everyone is faster than me, and I've practiced around here a lot because that's back in the days when I used to practice enormous amounts to do races, and I've just been lazy recently.
My favourite part of the track is turn one. When you go up that massive hill into that left-hander, and there's like 500 different lines
because the track's about
you can take.
40 feet wide, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's always interesting. And it's, I think this season is going to be more interesting commentating on it than driving it, because you don't always see all the action when you're in the car. So I'm looking forward to what goes on in turn one. And just skip back 5 minutes. One thing I did forget with Snetterton 200, our lap record holder from season 6 is Tony Kloosterman with a 1:08.477. Bill, being an American, Circuit of the Americas, does that make you feel all patriotic, or do you not like it?
No, the Circuit of the Americas is a travesty, in my opinion. It's not very nice. It's supposed to be the primo track, and I don't know who told you about Donington. Not Donington. Who was it? Homogenized for Formula One. That's exactly what that track.
Yeah, Silverstone. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is, and I mean, certainly not my favorite track, and certainly not my favorite track in America. That's for sure. I don't like it at all. I understand they're in financial trouble. I'm not sure if that's true or not, but if it went away, it wouldn't hurt my feelings any, to be honest with you. But I don't like it at all. I got nothing nice to say about it.
It's fair enough. Sam?
Yep, like it. I think that's
so here we have a difference of opinion.
Yeah, I really like the flow in the aces, and then down to the hairpins at the end. Big long straight, heavy braking to the left, and some weird corners. But yeah, that's something a bit different from all the usual tracks we are racing in. The angles and so on are pretty weird, but I do like it on this one. And it was, I think, a track that went in the season I started, the V8ESC.
Yeah, it was. This one, the West Circuit, made its way into season 2 when it was first released. And I think we've got a bit of a Tony Kloosterman friendly schedule this season, because Tony's the lap record holder again with a 1:32.678. So that'll be an interesting race, sprint and feature again. So yeah, we'll look forward to that one. Last race in October, we're back to the Endurance Cup with the penultimate race, round 9, 2 hours, Barcelona GP. Now, I've been very down on a few tracks in this little preview that we've been doing. And I'm sorry, but Barcelona's another one. I find it really boring. And that's all I've got to say about it. Pete?
Before it even came out, we were going to race there. Was it last season? Is that the only season we've ever raced there?
Yes.
Is that as old as it is? I think it is. And in the podcast, Johnny Brandon said, it's a circuit, much like any other. And I disagree with both of you. I really like Catalonia. It's a track that I've enjoyed watching Formula One at, which is unique for me because I find Formula One quite boring. MotoGP, I enjoy watching that round here. I like driving Barcelona or Circuit de Catalunya. I think it's got some great features that make for great racing. The sweeping first 2 turns, which is like an S's, and then a right-hand turn. I don't know what that's called. They name them all after car manufacturers around this track, don't they? And it carries on sweeping round and then continues round to the right. I think that sequence is really good. I think it's a well-designed track. It's got some great features. It's got elevation change. It's got heavy braking zones, wide bits of track, narrow bits of track, tight chicanes, and sweeping corners that just I find very entertaining. It's got a start-finish straight that you need to time it in the number of days it takes you to drive down it rather than the amount of seconds. It's for me, it's a track that lends itself to V8s because it's about power and lining yourself up for a corner and getting in slipstream and door banging through the tight bits and then following and trying to overtake through slipstream in the fast bits. I love Catalonia. I think it's a great track. I'm probably on my own in this conversation right now.
Yeah, possibly. To me, if you ever see an overhead shot of it or a track map, it's like they designed one end of it and then said, "What should we do with the other end?"
The same thing.
I know. Let's copy the other end.
Let Guido work on that one.
Yeah, it's weird. But Bill, what do you think of Catalonia?
Well, I'm not absolutely in love with it. When it first came out, I didn't really care for it too much, but I've grown to like it a little bit better. I just the condition or whatever the that we ran it in the first time, that little dipsy do before the straightaway really sucked. that ruined my whole race, that whole little complex there. If that just kind of went around that corner and onto that straight, that'd be a nice track. But that little dipsy do was ridiculous. But it's not too bad. I mean, I'm not quite in a love affair like Pete is with it, but it's okay. It's better than a lot of them, that's for sure.
Yeah. Sam, you done much around Barcelona?
Yeah. Don't like it at
We'll
all.
take that as a no then.
Yeah.
But that was French and Belgian for no.
Yeah, exactly. That's probably one of the worst tracks in the world for me. At least
Yeah.
the end part, the thing they call chicane, that's just crap. That was very. It was better with the rapid right hand side they had previously. Yeah, that's. I liked it before this version because that was the first track I raced in my sim racing career, I should say, on GTR2 when I really started racing with a wheel and so on. But yeah, this version now is I really don't like it.
Yeah, okay. Well, we've only raced there once because it's a recently released track. So our lap record was from last season. Nicole Foggy gets his name on the board with a 146.145. So, like I say, that was the penultimate Endurance Cup round. We then move into November and the penultimate round of the Racetech Cup, which is an endurance race from Le Mans. Now, no, I'm not going there. I really like Le Mans. I think it's because I'm lazy and I'm crap. You get 3/4 of the lap at rest, and then you get busy for a quarter of a lap, and then you rest again. We've got some recent experience around there. Myself, and Pete, and Sam, and Dom doing the HPD round there, which was really good. But yeah, I think it's. I think on the whole, it's probably a boring track, or most of it is, but it's a boring track that I enjoy. There's lots of opportunities to overtake, lots of opportunities to get it wrong. The pit lane entrance I always find horrendously bad. And that last sort of double chicane complex can launch your car in all sorts of directions. What about you, Pete? Do you like it, or could you sort of leave it?
I really liked it until I crashed the HPD the other week, and everybody was very, very silent when I said I'd done it. I felt like a proper naughty schoolboy. Porsche curves, I think that's what it's called. Yeah, I struggle with that one. I like the track. It's massive. It's high speed, low downforce, slipstream city of a track with some annoying chicanes here and there that get in your way of like the big grin that comes on your face when you're doing ridiculous speeds. It's just a monster of a track, and it is enjoyable. It took me a long time to memorize it all. It's not like Nordschleife, which I still don't know now. Well, I know the first half of it, and I've crashed by then, and I don't know the second half. This is a track that you can get round, and it takes you a while to learn it. It takes you a while to know where you can push, and I've still not learned that apparently. But I do enjoy the track. I think it's a real monument to racing, if you take my terminology there. It doesn't have ridiculously well-known corners like some of the other tracks around the world, or not in my opinion, but if you say Le Mans, everybody knows exactly what you're talking about, and then they can picture it in their heads, and they can picture the types of races you get there, and in terms of endurance racing, I don't think there's anything better. It's just I like it, but I can understand why people would say, "Oh, it's boring. It's just straights everywhere and things like that." I don't think it is, but I can understand why people think that.
Okay, so Bill, you must love this track because probably out of a lot of the tracks, this one's got the least amount of steering inputs and pedal inputs.
And you can take a nana nap. Yeah. Actually, I really do kind of like it. When we were first going to go there in a V8, I was a little skeptical. I thought, brother, it's going to be like, a parade. But it's kind of interesting racing this car there. I find the most difficult place there. Of course, I'm such a crappy driver. Don't take my word for it. But the first corner after the start finish line, that left hander and then that right hander, and going down that little hill, I'm telling you, it's very tricky. You think you can roar through there a lot faster than you can, but the rest of the course, I think it's a lot of fun, really, and I don't mind it at all. I think it's going to be a good get together.
I think my worst corner is the right hander that goes onto the Mulsanne straight. I just can't carry the speed through there, and then I lose out all the way down the straight. But Sam, you've probably done more laps around there than us three put together. What is it like, in your opinion?
Yeah, that's an endurance track. It's meant for endurance racing, not for sprint racing. This is where you can put in strategy to save fuel and so on. Yeah, that's one of the best tracks in the world for me. Even with all of its history, all the races that have been done there, all the background behind it. But yeah, it's quite boring sometimes when you have nothing to do. But when you have someone to play with, that's really interesting, and this is what makes Le Mans interesting.
Okay, so the very following week, we are back with the final rounds, super sprints as usual, from Watkins Glen Cup.
Sorry, who had the track record?
Oh, sorry, sorry. It's a 3:57.297, set in season 6 by Nicole Foggy.
Oh, all right, okay.
Watkins Glen hosts our showdown. I know people that don't like Watkins Glen. I think Watkins Glen, any configuration, is awesome. Again, as usual, as I've said for every track so far, I'm not quick there, but I really enjoy the lap. It's I don't know. I think it's one of them tracks that's got a bit of everything. It's got tight, slippery corners. It's got long, sweeping corners. It's uphill. It's downhill. It's probably, apart from Daytona and the other track that I know is Sebring, it's probably the only other track that I don't have to try and learn the corners. Pete, what do you think of Watkins Glen?
Which one are you doing? Are we doing Cup?
It's the Cup one, yeah.
I prefer Boot, if I'm being honest. The only reason I'm saying that is because... and have we got the bus stop or not?
Yes.
Or whatever they call it. It's not called the bus stop, is it? It's called a loop or something like that. I prefer the Boot because it adds another level of technicality, going through what I think is called the chute, which is that left-hander, which sometimes feels off camber if you're going too fast and things like that. But in terms of the track itself, it's not mentally challenging, is it? If you're thinking about it, it takes about 2 or 3 laps to learn the track, but to master it takes quite a lot more, and to race with other people on it takes even longer. Going uphill on the S's, I'm always amazed at uphill straights or fast sectors, because they are a bit different. It's harder to get speed, maintain speed, and take advantage of speed when you're going uphill. I really like Watkins Glen. A lot of different official races go there, and with good reason as well. It's got lots of overtaking opportunities. That back straight is just lends itself to overtaking. The bus stoppy bit if you get that wrong, you just ruined not just that lap, but probably the one after it, because it takes you that long to get the anger out of your system for being so silly as to have screwed up the bus stop. The carousel turn, which is that one that goes downhill, keeps going to the right for quite a long time, and even more in the cup version of the track. Is a brilliant turn. You can overtake people around the outside or the inside. In the V8s, the optimal line is hugging that corner. And V8s are really good round here. Lots of cars are really good round here. It's a really nice flowing track.
Yeah, and I think it's it's not a long lap, but it does lend itself to close racing. You know, the amount of times you see 2 wide and 3 wide action sometimes round Watkins Glen is phenomenal. And like I say, whenever I'm in a series and I see Watkins Glen on the schedule, I'm always happy. Bill, Watkins Glen, the Cup version, you must enjoy that.
I do. I like both ways, like you do at Watkins Glen. It's a really wonderful place. Great racing there, no matter what kind of cars they are. Always good battles there. Kind of wide open in a lot of spots. You can get some passing done there. I can't think of anything really bad to say about it, other than it's in wine country in New York, so you've got to kind of be careful. But other than that, it's great racing track. A lot of tradition there, just like Le Mans, just like Silverstone. A lot of history there.
Sam, you done much around Watkins? You must have. Everybody has.
Yeah, I won my only race in the V8ESC there. So yeah, really like that track.
Okay,
good
moving
memories.
on quickly.
Yeah, that's a pretty good track. Both layouts in almost all of the cars. It's good for endurance, sprint racing, everything. It has the flow, the elevation changes, the runoff areas, the walls, everything in. So yeah, pretty love this one.
Good. Right, so after Watkins Glen, we will obviously name our main series champion, but we've still got a race to do. We have got the final round of the Endurance Cup, and we started at Daytona with a day race, and we finish at Daytona with a night race. So we talked a little bit about Daytona earlier on. Unless I'm mistaken, they do make me chuckle because there's only 2 corners with names. I think you've got the bus stop and International Horseshoe, unless somebody else can point me in a different direction. But what, apart from the obvious, Pete, what difference are we going to see in a night race than what we see in the day race?
Night races, night race at Daytona, I can't remember how well lit the track is. I think it's reasonably well lit, being an oval.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, and you do have some other names for corners, which is fairly unique for American tracks, isn't it? So, along with International Horseshoe, I think you've got the other kind of tight corner further on is called West Horseshoe or something like that.
Yeah, you know.
I don't think I am.
How about 4, 5, and 6, stuff like that?
Yeah, they're well named. They are accurately named. That's all I can say. Night racing always adds a bit of a challenge, no matter way. Oh, who did the fastest lap at Watkins.
Oh, I keep forgetting that, don't I?
Yeah.
You know why, don't you? Because it's Tony Klosterman again.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
With a 1 minute 10.061 in season 1.
Season 1.
And
Wow.
we've been there a few times.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
He must have been cheating that year.
Yeah. That was when he was good.
Right, I see.
But yeah, it'll be interesting to see if that one gets broken.
Yeah, definitely. And so night racing anywhere is a bit of a different challenge. We've done a few. Oh dear, I won't say anything more than. If it's well lit, and I can't remember if it is or not, then it makes not much difference when you're at Daytona. But your sighting of your turning points, the edges of the track, other cars, becomes a massive challenge actually, and especially if you've been chasing someone's tail lights for quite a long time, and kind of they've been selecting your braking points for you, because as we all know, it's easier to follow in any race than it is to lead. You've got to find the right line, you've got to find the turn, and you've got to find the braking point that's optimal, and you can always brake that millisecond after the person in front of you. But if you've got nobody to measure your distances, then it's more of a difficult journey around the track, and the same even more so in the dark. I think it's going to be a good end to the season. It's going to be very interesting. I'm going to be absolutely watching that race like a hawk, because if we get a decent field this season, and I think we will, something tells me we're going to get a very strong field all the way through this time. We've become very popular now. And the V8 is getting a decent following. I think it'll be a fascinating end of season.
Yeah, definitely. Bill,
Okay.
hopefully at night, cooler temperatures, grippier track.
Yeah, more than likely. But to answer Pete's question, I'm not sure about in the sim how well lit it is, but I've worked the Daytona 500 several times as a marshal, and I can tell you it's brighter than daytime there at night. I mean,
Right.
when I first worked it there, it was very limited lighting, and it was truly like nighttime. But now, I mean, they got all these Musco lights all over the place, and it is so bright it hurts your eyes. I'm telling you, it's unbelievable. You can't even call it a night race. But I really, again, I do like Daytona. It's got a, even though there's no, like we mentioned before, no elevation changes, it's just an exciting track. There's usually a lot of action going on. So, yeah, I agree with you, Pete. I'm hoping that, the field is nice and strong, and I hope we're fighting for a championship right down to the end, because that'll be as exciting as heck, let me tell you.
Yeah.
Sam, so we didn't ask you about Daytona last time, I don't think. Again, it's renowned, obviously, as an endurance track. You must have done hundreds and thousands of laps around there. Do you enjoy it, or are you one of these that finds Daytona boring?
No, I like it, this one. That's a bit special with the oval part and the infield. That's something we're not used to in Europe, so yeah, it's something I like.
Well, I absolutely love the track. So I don't forget, obviously we know that Tony Klosterman is our lap record holder from last season with a 1:43.754. So that is our preview of the season. So Pete, Bill, and Sam, get your thinking caps on, because I'm going to hit you with your predictions.
Oh.
But before that, we've got a couple of questions from Marco Lewert. First one is, did you ever think of a fixed setup series? The answer is yes. Way back when we began 4 years ago, it was part of a discussion. The fixed setup on the car at that time was a bit ropey, to say the least. And Tony Kloosterman was on board right from the start, and sharing setups for people and things like that. So I think ultimately we made the correct decision in having open setups. There's always plenty of setups being shared about, and also we if you haven't got a setup, ask somebody. They may not share it publicly, but they might share it privately with you. But I think the following in this car, there are plenty of setups about now if you look for them, and plenty of people in the league that will share them with you. And as Chris Jackson has just pointed out on the chat there, we do tend to do fixed setup races with our Christmas specials. So we'll be doing another Christmas special this year, so keep an eye out for that. Marco's second question, and he probably missed the start when I explained it all, but why is there an endurance race in Racetech Cup, and why is Daytona not part of Endurance Cup? Well, to answer the first bit, there's two separate championships. So we have our main series, which is called the Racetech Cup, and that's usually every other Saturday, although there are a couple of little tweaks this season. And the races are either 3 races in a night of super sprints, 2 races in a night of sprint and feature, or 1 race in the night, which is an endurance race. Then on top of that, there's our second sister series, which is the Endurance Cup, which runs once a month, and it is always a 2-hour race. Now that championship lasts for 10 months. It started back in January and finishes in November. 10 rounds, and so we'll have another champion at the end. But it's just something a little bit different from our usual sort of fast-paced, action-packed races. And Johnny Brandon has just asked, is there still practice rooms for the league on a Thursday evening this season? And the answer is no. The participation in the last 2 seasons on a Thursday night practice session has been absolutely diabolical. So therefore, I'm saving the league's money. And if people want to host sessions, then they can. So that's where we are with that one at the moment. So that's the end of the questions. Let's go to Sam first. So Sam, who is going to win Season 9 Racetech Cup?
I think Foggy is a good contender this season. He has proven in the past, either in V8ESC and in the officials, that he's one of the fastest drivers, except if he forgot to put fuel on his car. But maybe Tony or Marco can be some outsiders for this season. I hope Marco will have a better feeling with his leg and could be back at 100% from the races. He could probably contend for the leads as well as Tony is in a good season. But yeah, Foggy will be my first choice.
That is going to be, just for Chris Jackson there, that is something that I'm going to ask the guys as well. Bill, who's your tip for the top?
Everybody really, Foggy's a hard man to go against, but I think Johnny Brandon's going to get another championship this year. I think Tony's going to do much better. He's got a pretty good chance. And of course, Marco Namella, like Sam said, if he's around for all of them, he's definitely going to be a contender as well. So it's going to be a good season.
Come on then, Pete. Put your money where your mouth is.
I don't have any money, you know that. Right, so I think if Tony's doing his Porsche Canada, whatever the thing that is, then he's not going to necessarily be as competitive as he has been in previous years, because that'll take him away from his practice. And by his own admission, or not admission, that's the wrong term, but he prophesizes that much practice will result in race win, said Confucius. And he's absolutely right. And if the practice isn't there, then he's not going to be as competitive. Johnny Brandon, I'd like to think would turn up for every round, but I'm not sure he will. Foggy is unbelievably fast, and he's getting faster, and he worries me. For that reason, he won Bathurst by a bazillion miles, and somebody needs to compete against that. But I think someone like Wayne Sanderson has got a chance of winning the league this season, because he will participate every round. He will be up there in the, not necessarily top spot, but he'll be in second, third, fourth, or fifth. And he will accrue points and be safe in his driving all the way through. So I'm going to go radical, and I'm going to go Wayne Sanderson.
Okay. Well, I think there's a number of drivers that can win it. Tony Kloosterman, you can never rule out. And I think the longer it goes without Tony winning a championship, the more he is determined to get another one. Marco Namela is definitely up there, quick, and can do a job this season. And definitely take it to Tony and the XVR guys. I'm a little bit worried about Marco's knee injury, whether that slows him down or not. We see last week that the first two races he was fine, and then he said to us, he started to lose the feeling in it. So can he get fit in time? Well, we'll see. Wayne Sanderson, yes, he's definitely a contender. I think possibly with Wayne, it might be a season too early. I think he needs another season in the car to cement his place up there in the top 5. And then he'll be a serious contender. Couple of our brothers from another mother down under that we haven't mentioned. Mike Taliancic has signed up this season. He doesn't always do all the races, but if he does, he's definitely a contender. He's already won a championship with us before. And Jamie McKnight as well. He's another one. The back end of last season, he was beating Tony and Chris Jackson, and sort of temporarily cementing his place as number 1 in that team, which I think in turn is going to spur Tony on. I don't think we'll see much of Chris at the moment, but with a new baby and all that sort of thing, and Chris is obviously breastfeeding, so we might not see a lot of Chris. But then it leaves your XVR guys, Johnny Brandon and I nearly said Tony Foggy. I got the Binghams and Nicole Foggy. Now I think Nicole is probably slightly faster than Johnny. Johnny might not like me saying that, but here's where I think the dice is going to roll this season. Johnny Brandon started last season like a one-armed paper hanger, and he had all the bad luck in the world. Is it bad luck? Do you put yourself in them situations? I think it was bad luck with Johnny. Nicole seems to be one of those drivers that just manages to miss things. I know he's always at the front, but he gets. I don't think he makes his own luck because of his talent. But I am going to back Johnny Brandon to be our first ever 3-time champion, because I don't think his luck can be as bad as last season. That's my view. So my second question, and I'll start with Sam again. Mid-pack drivers, drivers that haven't had a win before. Who do you think has got the best chance of breaking into that top 5 consistently, or grabbing the odd race win, Sam?
That's a pretty good question. I don't know if Wayne already won a race in the V8ESC. Maybe you can answer this one for me, Clyde.
I can't answer it off the top of my head, but I can cheat and have a look.
Yeah, if he has not won one already, I will go with Wayne this season, and I'm sure there's another one in the XVR team that can win if he has not won already. There's too many drivers in this team now, so I can't remember which one. But Lane just pointed Steve Lavalley. I think Steve can probably win one also. And Marco has not won. Yeah, Marco definitely, but he's not a mid-pack driver, so no, Marco, you're not in this list. You're in the top one. So mid-pack driver, Wayne, Steve, I think this season, if they have not won already.
Okay, Bill, who do you think mid-pack non-winning driver can get up there and grab an odd win, or force their way into the top 5 regularly?
Wow, you got a choice of a lot of people. I think first of all, the addition of Wayne Sanderson and NQR is a big plus for that team, and I think he's got a pretty good shot. I think. Let me see. We've got a couple new guys that show a lot of promise. I think Adam Wright's got a shot at it. I think. Who else am I thinking of? Well, there's a number of them for sure. I know. Marco Numella's teammate, Richard Alsop. Yeah. Yep. He shows some promise as well. Steve Lavalley possibly, I think, has a pretty good shot. There's a lot of them in there. Maybe Jamie is one, hasn't he? Jamie, McKnight is one. Well, if Chris wasn't, Chris is one too. Now, there's a ton of them in there. I just can't think of them right now. But the ones that came to my head, are definitely contenders to win there first.
Yeah, Pete.
Wayne will definitely win a race this season. I think Richard Alsop's got the capability to do it. I think the mouth, Jamie McKnight, I reckon he's got a chance of regularly winning races if he can keep it on the track. And he's obviously got the talent for it. He just needs the consistency to pull it off, I think. And I think that's where my money sits. Wayne Sanderson I'd consider to be knocking on the door of the higher performers now, along with Marco and Johnny and Nicole and Tony. I think that the caliber of driver that if you can come out and say there's like 6 people that are going to vie for the win on every race, we're going to have a terrifyingly brilliant season, aren't we?
I think so.
The midfield with Wayne Wilson and Jamie Sanderson from last year. I think we're going to have more of that. Team GC, I think they've got a chance of winning the odd one as well. He's come back from injury, Greg Carr, and he's done really well. And have I got the wrong one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought I did. I do that all the time.
Gary Croft.
Yeah. He's obviously proven he was quick in that race that we saw the other week, and he's got a chance as well. But I think Wayne, for me, if he can win a few and stay in for all the rest, I think he's got a good chance at the championship.
Yeah, well, you guys have pretty much mentioned everybody that I was going to mention anyway. I think, cementing a place in the top 5 is not easy, but we've got a number of drivers that can do it. And I agree with you guys. The Richard Alsop, Wayne Sanderson, Steve LaValle, Jamie McKnight, they're all going to be up there giving it to Johnny and Nicole and Tony. We've got no George McClay this season. He's got other commitments, so George would normally be right up there. People that I think could surprise us with a win this season, especially with the reverse grid races, are all of those that I've just said. And then add to that Rich Warmingham. And on his, everyone's gonna go mad on the chat when I say this, but on his performances over the last couple of weeks, it wouldn't surprise me if Lame O'Connor
There you go.
gets up there with a win in a reverse grid race.
Can't be an endurance race though, because
He's got an old man rule. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I don't know what it is with Lane. He's, he's always been a plodder. He turns up for most of the races and he enjoys it, and we have a good laugh with him and all the rest of it. Nice bloke. But he explained it to us the other night or the other week. He had some computer issues and he had to wait for some bits to turn up. And he's just, I don't know what, but he's just come back. It's like he's got, we joked that Johnny Brandon was driving his car because he's found some talent from somewhere. Might be just talent because he's found a way to stay awake or something like that. That I don't know, but we've seen it in the past, and Sam's probably going to mute me now, but we do get some strange winners like Sam. I can remember JP winning a race around Lime Rock Park because it was a reverse grid, and that gives the guys in the mid pack and out of the top 5 that chance to get a victory in my eyes.
I reckon it's Dave Johnson for a win.
No. No. And then final question to you guys, and I'll start with Sam. And this isn't as easy as it's been in the past. Team champions. Who do you think's going to come away with the team championship, Sam?
I don't even know which team are racing this season. I mean, there's XVR Sim Racing, Nevercook Racing, and the Racecraft Esports guys. Don't know if there's any other full team this season, but I'm pretty sure that's going to be one of these 3. But which one? Pretty hard to say because they all have excellent drivers. If they have the luck with them, they all can win every week. These 3 for me. One of these 3.
Okay, and Bill?
I think it's going to be a slugfest between NQR and XVR, and we're not going to be able to pick a winner till the end. To be honest with you, I think it's going to be nip and tuck. If Chris Jackson can come back, within it, and Greg Carr shows up a lot of these races, I think they're going to have a heck of a battle because XVR is loaded for bear this year. They got 5 guys that are really tough and fast, and it's going to be good.
And Pete, same question.
I think based on the fact that Foggy will undoubtedly feature in the top 2 or 3, top 3 rather, regularly. Johnny will probably be up there as well. Johnny's also steering the wheel on the computer to his right for Lane O'Connor. I think XVR have got a very, very strong presence here now. NQR, although very strong, Chris is out for a bit. Gary's injured. Well, maybe he's recovered fully, don't know. Greg doesn't always turn up for all the races, etc., etc. I think XVR has the strongest challenge for the title.
Yeah, I can't disagree with you there. I don't know the makeup of the teams yet. We won't find out until our first race, but the main XVR team will obviously be Johnny and Nicole, and then I don't know whether it will be Wayne or Rich Warmingham in the third seat, but whichever driver that gets that seat, they're going to have a very, very strong team. And obviously, you're allowed 3 teammates, but only the top 2 score in each round. I've sort of taken NQR out of the equation, but purely because I don't really know what's going on there yet. Chris Jackson, I don't know how much he's going to be able to race, so he's going to be a big loss. That leaves Tony and Jamie McKnight. Now, they will be right up there if Jamie can turn up every round. If not, it's going to be Tony on his own, unless Tony makes the decision to drop Chris because he's not going to be there and promote an Ant Woodward or a Gary Croft into the top team. So at the moment, I'm not so sure on NQR. The interesting one for me is Racecraft. We know Marco's speed. We've seen Richard Alsop giving it to Marco. So again, if those 2 are at every round, they've got a hell of a chance of taking the crown away from XVR. I'm not sure on who their third driver will be. I'm hoping they've got a third driver, and I'm hoping it's another quick driver, so that they're all pushing each other to get the points. But at the moment, purely because it's a settled team and we know whichever 3 drivers are going to be in it are going to be quick, I'll go with XVR. So that rounds up our pre-season that was a cross then between broadcast and podcast. I was going to say broadcast. So that might be our new thing, the V8ESC Backfire broadcast. Anyway, so you've heard our views on the schedule. You've heard our predictions on who we think are going to win things. I'd like to thank Pete and Bill and Sam for helping me put this on and for letting me put them on the spot and showing that they've got far more knowledge about the tracks than I have. V8ESC is back with rounds 1 and 2 on Saturday from Mosport. Sprint and feature race. It's going to be cracking. We are back before that on Wednesday with our GT4 TCR League. If you haven't watched it, come and give us a look. It's fantastic racing. And we've still got spaces if anybody wants to get involved. We'll then be back on Friday with the European Strength of Field race for the V8s. And then, like I say, back in main action on Saturday with the V8s. And I might be right in saying we've also got an ECA Endurance Championship race to broadcast on Sunday, Sam?
Yeah, exactly.
So, busy week for us. So, yeah, you boys better get plenty of shut-eye. So, I want to thank Pete, Bill and Sam for stepping in with me tonight. We will be back with the normal V8ESC Backfire podcast with Johnny Brandon and Tony Kloosterman joining myself to talk all sorts of crap about racing. Thanks to Racetech, our sponsors. Thanks to everybody that's watched tonight and everybody that's watching it back tomorrow. Thanks for all the drivers that have signed up to the series. We still have spaces. If anybody wants to join in, get on our website and fill in the registration. I've been Clyde Whiting. I would like to say good night and thank you, and I'll leave the guys to say good night.
Good night, everybody. I hope you tune in for all the V8 stuff as well as all the other stuff we've got going on.
Yeah, good night. And if you like this podcast, please check the thumbs up, please. We could sure use that. And follow our broadcast. We'd really appreciate it. Good night, everybody.
Yeah, good night, everybody. Thanks for watching and see you next time.